Now, you might have heard the question posed, does a fish know that they're wet? Do they know they're swimming in water 24 hours a day? I don't know, but I have a similar question I'd like an answer to. Does a rhino know that it's a rhino? Does a gentleman like Lawrence Wilkerson know that he's saying the most closeted, liberal, hypocritical things I've ever heard come out of a Republican's mouth? Or is he just trolling all of us, including the panel, on Real Time with Bill Maher? I'm going to play a couple clips, and you can decide.
I own 14 weapons. I've owned weapons since I was 12 years old. I've hunted since I was 12 years old with my father, my brothers. We do not need large capacity magazine, semi-automatic weapons in the hands of anybody in this country other than possibly law enforcement.
Issue number one, don't tell me what to do with my liberty. You just do with yours whatever you want. That's why you're a closet progressive. Number two, if you are not a full gun grabber because you're proud that you have 14 guns, then you're at least a magazine grabber. So what happens when a full-on gun grabber like Bill Maher questions the magazine grabber about why he needs so many guns?
Period.
Why do you need 12?
Where's my old friend Larry?
Why do I need that many?
Yeah.
I've accumulated them.
Oh, I see.
My father died and left me some. My brother died and left me some.
Sure, Christmas.
Yeah. And I don't go sell them to just anybody.
Larry's just so proud of himself. He's kind of like my 2-year-old when he used the toilet for the first time. Just such an accomplishment here. Larry, babe, do you think a guy like Bill Maher is going to care how you got your 14 guns? Guess what? He's about to ask you how you feel about the Second Amendment, because he cares more about how many guns you have than how big the magazines are. You're just willing to concede ground to a person who wants it all.
Good.
Oh, I'll buy some.
Yes.
I'll buy them off you.
I wouldn't sell them to you.
Because my friend...
I'll buy my own. I don't know what Larry's talking about. He's totally wrong. First of all, High Capacity Magazine is a completely...
John McCain made an egregious statement.
John McCain...
He withdrew it, but he made an egregious statement that said that Barack Obama was responsible for Orlando. Yes. If anybody is directly responsible for Orlando, it's the Republican Party for stymieing all manner of gun control.
Okay, then, Larry. Larry.
But you're not for repealing the Second Amendment. So there still would be 300 million guns in America.
I wouldn't...
Colonel, what are you talking about? That's the most asinine, ridiculous, out of context response I think I've heard on Real Time, which is saying a lot. It's probably not. But right now it is. Look, Bill Maher is not stupid. He's pretty shrewd. He's an avowed anti-Second Amendment guy. So he asked an important question. What about the 300 million guns? And he's going to go on to make a point that until those guns are gone and the Second Amendment is no longer afforded to us liberty-loving citizens, this is going to continue to happen. Gun control legislation won't stop it. Neither will the authorities reporting people like Omar to, neither will gun store owners reporting people like Omar to the authorities, or being on FBI watch lists, or being questioned by the FBI and then let go, because all those things happened and did nothing. And unfortunately, the colonel is being a halfwit and playing into the hands of progressive like Bill Maher, whose goal is to chip away at your gun rights until they're gone. Thanks a lot, Colonel. And sadly, it gets way worse.
Repeal the Second Amendment. Lieutenant General Jerry Boykin said that Christ brought the Second Amendment to us, so I wouldn't repeal the Second Amendment.
Oh, Colonel, why? Am I against arguing Jesus? No, I love Jesus. But you're arguing that he gave us a gift of the Second Amendment. Okay, cool. Then you're arguing at the same time that the Second Amendment has some problems and we need to fix it. Which one is it?
Well, there is no, I wrote a book about this. There is no gun control law that has ever been proven to reduce gun crime.
Australia did a confiscation program.
There is no
Notice how easily the word confiscation rolls off the tongue of a statist.
gun control law in the United States of America that has ever reduced gun crime, and actually in Australia, the violent crime.
But can we get real here? First of all, if he didn't use the AR-15, there's plenty of other guns in America. Maybe they would not have been as effective. But we are not going to have the cops go around and confiscate 300 million guns any more than we're going to deport 11 million illegals. This is like saying, I want more Great Lakes.
Yeah, I think
America lives in a total fantasy land.
But you have to do something. You have to do something, for example, like saying the people on the no-fly list can't buy weapons.
Absolutely.
So if you end up on one of these arbitrary government lists, you can have your right to a gun taken away without due process. For those of you counting at home, that's the third anti-liberty, pro-progressive thing that he said. in a row.
No.
You know, you have to have something.
All right, Wayne wants
By
to
the
kill
way,
people.
let me clear something up here. I
Okay.
don't own guns to defend myself.
Why do you own them?
I own guns to hunt with.
So what happens if someone comes in your home? You're just going to go?
I don't own the guns in case someone comes in my home so that I can shoot them.
Okay, but
because
that is
I
the
don't
purpose of
expect
the
someone
second-
to come in my home because I have law enforcement and other
Do
people
you know what the
around me to
response
keep
time
that
is for
from
law
happening.
enforcement? The response time is 10 minutes.
But
The response time, the average response time for law enforcement is 10 minutes. So in those 10 minutes when that person is in your home, you're telling them you're not
I'm
going to touch your guns.
71 years old. I've lived in this country for 71 years, except for the years I was deployed fighting for this country when I did need my guns, and no one's ever entered my house and tried to kill me.
And one more thing. If you're one of the hundreds of people last year who got attacked in your own home by someone brandishing a gun and maybe either got shot, maimed, murdered, or raped, F you. See, here's the problem. First of all, if the crowd roaringly applauds for your answer, you know it was idiotic on Bill Maher. But second of all, where's the sympathy? Where's the empathy? Where's the caring and the... where's the heart for all the people who don't have your anecdotal experience, who aren't lucky enough to have never had to use ADT or a gun to defend themselves? You do know about ADT, right? It exists because people get their homes broken into. A lot. Here's the thing. This is the inner progressive, the inner tyrant, the smug character coming out to show his ugly face. If you remember nothing else from this video, it's this. Here's a guy who's totally unconcerned with anyone else's well-being because of his anecdotal experience. Can you imagine if we formed policy around this kind of anecdotal experience? Well, I guess sometimes we do, but let me just give you a couple of examples. I get pulled over, and the officer says, your kids don't have car seats. You're aware there's a law for this, right? I'm like, yeah, there is, but I've never been in a wreck before. My kids aren't in any danger. How stupid that sounds. Or if you ask me for my car insurance, I'm like, I've never caused any property damage with a moving vehicle. I've never wrecked anyone else's car. I'm not concerned about it. You yourself said the Second Amendment was a gift from Jesus. And now you're going to criticize other people who use it in a way that you don't approve of when it happens to be to defend themselves. This is the thing that drives me crazy about this guy. And Bill Maher used him as a total tool on real time.
one thing that Trump said this week that made a little sense to me, he said, when I listened to Obama today, and he sounded madder at me than the shooter. Couldn't we just address the big elephant in the room, which is the shooter, before we go right to elephant phobia?
Bill, that sounds like a marvelous idea. I love your solution-based thinking, as long as no one distracts us with a predictable, religious, false moral equivalence.
Trying to
Yes.
address the shooter
Thank you.
as a product of Islam is like, as I said before, trying to address the priest who abuses children as a product of Christianity.
I know what you're thinking. Hey, didn't Ben Affleck just make a similarly lazy argument and then get flayed on TV by Bill Maher and Sam Harris? Oh, that would be cool if that happened again. Well, fortunately, Dr. Wilkerson is prepared to not get creamed by immediately changing the subject to something that has absolutely nothing to do with what they're talking about, which is what he did earlier when he brought up John McCain. Saves him a little bit of face in the short run, none in the long run.
But
And by the way, let me say, I've been married for 50 years. I've got to get this in, and I agree with everything you just said.
But you love okay. All right. Happily married. But
I think what he's hitting on is like a systemic issue that happens way before even religion. It's about family. It's about the lack of introspection.
I hate Colonel Wilkerson for making me bash him when you've got people much more worthy of bashing on the show. But I had to do it. And here's the thing. I was going to end the clip there, but P.P. Patel here accidentally said something 100% accurate. And this is where I'd like to direct my ire. Why? Because he said that it's about family. Well, it's true. In the case of Omar Mateen, his family was his father, who we imported here from a Middle Eastern country where the cultures, beliefs, and values that he espoused led him to be an Islamist Taliban supporter. He instilled those values in his son. His son acted on them, and now almost 50 homosexuals are dead in Florida. But instead of analyzing that cycle and figuring out how to solve it, people like Colonel Wilkerson are afforded the opportunity to grandstand and virtue signal about how the real problem here is that congressional Republicans have not taken away people's right to own guns. You see how this works?
By the way, everyone needs to be in therapy. Wouldn't the world just be a better place if everyone was in therapy?
You're projecting, bro. Not everyone needs therapy.
I mean, we don't place any emphasis on introspection in this society, and I feel like people go out there in the world. Yes,
I think that's all we do.
What?
Interest.
Liberals, yes.